Hey guys, this is Will at Third and Long. Today we are going to be looking at the Week 8 college football best bets for college football this Saturday. We'll be looking at the money lines, spreads, and the over-under. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. If you want a more in-depth breakdown, just go to my Week 8 predictions video. This is going to be more of a rapid-fire session here, and we'll be getting started out with our very first game at 12 p.m. on ABC. We have the 3-3 UCF Knights versus number 6 Oklahoma Sooners sitting at 6-0. So both of these teams had bye weeks this past week. So John Rice Plumlee will be coming back as the starting quarterback for UCF. So that's a big upgrade there because they have had some issues moving the ball the last few weeks. But Oklahoma coming in with that big win versus Texas. They have a very good defense. They have a very good offense. The biggest knock on them is they still have no running back number 1. They're not really running the ball down the field. Dylan Gabriel, though, is a Heisman contender at this point of the season, so they will definitely score. They are 19-point favorites as of right now. The over-under is 66. So Oklahoma's favored. I do have Oklahoma winning 45-24. So I have Oklahoma winning. I am going with the over here, and I definitely think that they will cover their spread with their high-powered offense. Next game we have at 12 p.m. on Fox, we have number 7 Penn State at 6-0 versus number 3 Ohio State Buckeyes at 6-0. This is the game of the weekend here. This is almost like a playoff game. So number 7 versus number 3, both 6-0. Penn State coming off of beating the crap out of the Minutemen. Penn State, top 10, if not top 5 defense right now. I think they're the number 3 total defense. So they definitely push the ball. Now, with their offense, they do have a good offense, but they do not have a big player offense. So Drew Aller is having a very good year so far, but there's no big playmaker on their offense. So they're not pushing the ball down the field for 40, 50 yards. For the Buckeyes, they definitely do have the big playmakers there with Marvin Harrison Jr. They have the best wide receiver core in the country. Second's probably Washington, but it is very close. With Kyle McCord, his last few games have actually been somewhat decent. Not the best, but he is getting 300 pass yards per game. So the offense is definitely looking better from where it was before. He has beaten a top defense with Notre Dame. So Buckeyes, 4.5-point favorites here. The over-under 45.5. So with the final scores that I have the Buckeyes winning, and I have them winning 23-20. So I do not think they will cover the spread, but they will win, and I'm actually going with the under here. I think this will be a low-scoring defensive game. Next game we have at 12 p.m. on CBS, we have number 22 Air Force, undefeated 6-0 versus 3-3 Navy. So for Air Force, their starting quarterback, Larry Air, is out, and he is out for a while, so he will not be playing. This will be a low-scoring game. They both run the triple option, so very little possessions, probably 6 to 7 possessions per team here. They will both be trying to run the clock. So it'll be a low-scoring, very slow-paced game, but Air Force is 10.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 34. So even though their quarterback is out, with the triple option, I think they will be able to adapt to that very well. I do have Air Force winning 24-17. So I'm going with the over here, but I do not think that they will be covering the spread. Next game we have at 3:30 on CBS. We have number 17 Tennessee at 5-1 versus number 11 Alabama at 6-1. Both teams are kind of in a similar position. Tennessee has been having more of a defensive year this year. Joe Milton still does not look like the guy, but they have a 5-star quarterback waiting in the wings. Bama. So with Milroe, he has been playing better, but he needs to get his short-range passing game better. Bama still really has to also get the running game going outside of Milroe. But Bama is 9.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 48.5. I have Bama winning 34-20. So I have them covering the spread. I have them winning, and I'm also going with the over. Next game we have at 3:30 on ESPN2. We have North Texas at 3-3 with a high-powered, very balanced passing and running offense with Rodgers and Hughes versus number 23 Tulane, who's 5-1. Could be 6-0 if Pratt did not have to miss the Ole Miss game. But he is back, so they will definitely be able to move the ball. So the over-under here is 63. Tulane is 20-point favorites. Pretty massive spread when both teams can score. So I have Tulane winning 35-28, so they'll get the win. I'm going with the Actually, so they're going to match it. They're going to score 63 points, but I do not think that they will cover the spread. So I have them winning by 7 points just because both offenses should be able to move the ball. Next game, we have a 3:30 on NBC. We have 3-3 Minnesota versus number 24 Iowa, who is 6-1. So Cade McNamara is out for the year for the quarterback for the Hawkeyes, and that's not a big loss because he was stinking anyways. So they have Deacon Hill starting at quarterback. Iowa Hawkeyes, 3.5-point favorites here. The over-under is 31.5. That is a massive over-under for a Hawkeyes game because they are god-awful on the offensive side of the ball. Probably the worst offense in college football for back-to-back years. Anyways, I do have the Iowa Hawkeyes winning completely due to their defense. They will win 13-6. I'm going with the under here, but I do have them covering that spread and getting the win. If there's any other game on TV, please watch that game instead of this one because it's going to be boring. Next game, we have a 3:30 on ABC. This is the better game to watch here. So we have Washington State at 4-2, who was recently taken out of the top 25, but does have a very good offense with Cameron Ward, even though they have not played well the last 2 weeks. Versus number 9 Oregon Ducks at 5-1, coming off of that really close loss to Washington. Do not underestimate Oregon. They have a good defense, and they have an elite top 5 offense right now. Bo Nix, very good quarterback, and Irving at running back. This team is loaded. They will be out for blood. They want to beat up these Pac-12 teams and still be in line for the playoffs. So they're going to be running up the score here. Oregon is favored by 20, and the over-under is 62. So I have Oregon Ducks winning 45-17. So right on the dot at 62. And I do have them covering that spread. Like I said, they will be out for blood, and they should be trying to run up the score every single game from this point forward. Next game at 3:30 on SEC Network, 2-4 South Carolina Gamecocks at number 20 Missouri Tigers at 6-1. So the Gamecocks are a lot better than their record looks like. Spencer Rattler is a pretty good quarterback, but they have a really terrible defense with Missouri. They have a very good offense with Cook and Schrader and Burden. Lots of weapons there. They can move the ball. Their defense is average to below average, but I just for some reason think the Gamecocks are going to win one of these close games that they've been playing. I have a hard time seeing the Tigers getting to 7-1, but Tigers are favored by 7.5. Over-under is 60. I'm looking at the upset here. That might not happen. This is kind of risky, so I would avoid this game, but I have the Gamecocks winning 38-34, so we'll go with the over here. Gamecocks win and not covering the spread, obviously. Next game we have at 4 p.m. on Fox, number 8 Texas Longhorns at 5-1, who had a bye week, so they're technically coming off of that Sooners loss versus 3-3 Houston. So with Texas, they are going to want to run the table from this point forward, get to the end of the season with one loss, and get into that Big 12 championship to hopefully have a rematch and try to beat the Sooners in round 2. For Houston, they have Dana Holgorsen. He is an offensive guru, so I think he will be able to definitely get some points in garbage time once Texas has pulled their starters. Texas, 23.5-point favorites. Over-under is 61. I do have the Longhorns winning 41-28. Like I said, Houston might get some points in garbage time, so I'm going with the Longhorns winning, but I'm going with the over, and I do not have Texas covering the spread. And that's a pretty big spread for a in-state rivalry game at 23.5 points anyways. So next game at 6:30 p.m. on the CW Network, the 1-5 Virginia Cavaliers, who are just having a god-awful year, versus number 10 North Carolina Tar Heels at 6-0, coming off of a very good win versus Miami. Drake May, top 5 pick. Tez Walker looks legit since he had 3 touchdowns last week versus Miami. So he finally has a passing vertical weapon to help with their very good run game. So Tar Heels are getting better week to week. The over-under here, 57. Tar Heels are 23.5-point favorites. So I have Carolina winning 38-14. They will get the win. I am going with the over here, and I think that they will just cover that spread. At 7 p.m. on ESPN, we have number 13 Ole Miss at 5-1 versus 3-3 Auburn. So Ole Miss has an average defense, but their offense is really clicking. They have Jackson Dart. They have Quinshon Judkins. They have Watkins. They are a very deep team, and Lane Kiffin can definitely move the ball. Auburn has Hugh Freeze, Thorne at quarterback, very bad offense. Hugh Freeze will get things righted, but it is going to take some time to turn that roster over. So, Ole Miss is favored by 6.5, over under 55. So I have Ole Miss winning 30-20. A lot of people have the upset here, but I think Ole Miss will pull it out 30-20. I have them covering that spread, but I'm going with the under here. Next game we have at 7:30 on the SEC Network, 2-4 Army versus number 19 LSU at 5-2. So Brian Kelly has the defense actually playing somewhat respectable the last 2 weeks after basically getting trounced every single game previous to that. Jaden Daniels is having a Heisman level year. If they were undefeated, he would be number 1 in the Heisman right now, putting up crazy stats, but they do have those 2 losses. So LSU favored by 31 here, pretty big spread, and the over-under is 58. So I think LSU will win 42-10. So I have them winning. I'm going with the under, and I think they will cover that spread. Now, could this game be like a 55-10 game? Yes, so they may go over, but I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game. With the new clock rules, Army will drain the clock, but LSU will still get the win. Next game we have at 7:30 p.m. on NBC, number 2 Michigan at 7-0 versus 2-4 Michigan State. Tucker fired. Michigan State really has absolutely nothing going for them right now, except this is a rivalry game, so you never know what might happen. But Michigan is favored by 24. Over-under is 46, so they basically have them shutting them out and beating the crap out of them. But I do have Michigan winning. They have the best defense in college football, a very efficient offense. They are a second half to the season team. They will run the ball down their throat. They will control the clock. Michigan State might get a garbage time touchdown. That's just kind of the way that things work. Or they'll get a touchdown first quarter and never score after that. That's also kind of how things work with Michigan. But I have them winning 35-13. So I'm going with the under here. And I'm going with the over here. So I have them just going over. I have them not covering that spread, though. But they will get the win. But I also would not be surprised if this game is like 40-50. But I'm just going to bank on them not covering that spread for right now. Next game at 7:30 p.m. on ABC, number 16 Duke at 5-1 versus number 4 Florida State at 6-0. Duke, Riley Leonard is out as of right now, but they basically win the game based off of their defense, special teams, and their run game. But Riley Leonard, without him, they cannot pass the ball at all. So that will definitely be catching up with him. He needs to get back as soon as possible. Florida State is a flip-flop team. They haven't really looked that great since they beat LSU. However, they did beat Syracuse really bad. So hopefully they are starting to get things going. Biggest problem, Jordan Travis seems hurt every single weekend. If he can stay healthy, they will definitely control this game because Riley Leonard is out. Florida State is stacked. They are the better team at every single position. So they should be able to lean on just that fact. They are 14.5-point favorites, over under 49. I have Florida State winning this game 34-21. So I'm going with the over here, but I just do not think that they will cover that spread. But that really just depends on which FSU offense actually shows up this weekend. Next game we have at 8 p.m. on Fox. Number 14 Utah at 5-1 versus number 18 USC at 6-1. Utah has absolutely no business being number 14, but it is what it is. So the over-under here is 54. Trojans are favored by 7. Utah, Cam Rising, he's not going to be playing this year. They have Barnes, they have Johnson. Neither of them are very good. They do not have a good offense. USC has a very bad defense. But I think they're going to rebound here. I think USC will be out for blood. Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley will be pissed off with how things went down last weekend versus Notre Dame. So I think they're going to be trying to run the score. They will be intent on moving the ball and scoring, and I think they will will themselves to win this game. USC favored by 7, over under 54. I have Trojans winning 38-17. So I'm going with the over here, and I definitely think that they will cover that spread and beat Utah. Next game we have at 10:30 on Fox Sports. We have 1-5 Arizona State versus number 5 Washington, who is 6-0. Washington 26.5-point favorites, Over-under 59.5. So a pretty big spread there, pretty large over-under. So Michael Penix Jr. is obviously the leader in the Heisman race right now. This team is stacked. They will be running the score up. They want to get Michael Penix that Heisman. They're going to be taking this chance to be getting 400 yards every single game and beating up these lower Pac-12 teams. So I definitely have Washington winning here. This game will not be close at all, but Sun Devils might get a fourth quarter touchdown. But Washington will win 48-24. So I do not think they will cover that spread just because of that fourth quarter garbage touchdown. But I'm going with the over, and the Washington Huskies will definitely win. Like I said, they are on a mission to get to the playoffs and to get Penix that Heisman Trophy. Next game, the final game at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN, we have number 25, UCLA Bruins at 4-2 versus Stanford at 2-4. So, over-under here, 53.5, UCLA 17-point favorites. Bruins have a very good defense this year. Dante Moore, 5-star quarterback. He is having a freshman-type year, but it's to be expected. This guy will be really good in 2 to 3 years under Chip Kelly. Stanford, they had that upset win versus Colorado, but I'm not buying into the fact that they completely turned the year around and that they are going to be a competitive team from this point forward. That's just not going to happen. So I have the Bruins winning 34-23, so I think they will win. I'm going with the over, but I do not think that they will cover that spread. So that's my breakdown of the Week 8 college football best bets. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.